Guys, Fix It in the Mix is back finally. I know it's been so long between reviews, but let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into it.
Is that right?
Slash and the Conspirators are back with their third album, Living the Dream, produced by Michael Basquiat, who also produced the band's previous album, World on Fire, and it features 12 tracks of old school hard rock with a polish of modern production on top. And I gotta say, Slash and Myles back together is awesome. Everything is right with the world once again. Slash has certainly been a busy guy these past few years. Of course, he's back with Guns N' Roses, and they've been doing a world tour for the last couple of years. And that also goes for Myles Kennedy, who's also had his hands full with a solo project and his album Year of the Tiger. And he's also been contributing to his Alter Bridge duties as well. So it's quite amazing when Slash and Myles get back together again. It's always a really special event because these guys are so busy within the industry. So it's amazing they find time at all to actually do this, but they actually dedicate time to it. And what could have been a really phoned in performance on this album is definitely not that at all. These guys definitely bring their A game to this album, and Living the Dream comes across as a solid album, but it's also one that plays it a little too safe at times, which we'll get to very shortly. The Call of the Wild is a really fantastic opener for this album. It's up-tempo, it's got great driving rhythm, excellent crunching guitars on this track, and a really cool snarling vocal delivery from Myles on this one. Serves You Right is a great follow-up. It's mid-tempo, it's got this really nice groove to it, and it really showcases Myles' upper register in his voice, which I've always been a huge fan of. Mind Your Manners was a track that I really dug because it has this really cool old-school hard rock vibe to it that's quite up-tempo, which makes this song quite danceable. You can actually really move to this track, and it's not really something that we've been hearing in rock music as of late. And I actually find it impossible not to move to this track once I put it on. It's just got that particular vibe about it. Lost Your Girl is another standout track that really features vocal master Myles Kennedy really showcasing just how wide his vocal range is, with a verse that really showcases his lower register, and then when he gets to the chorus he really starts utilizing those higher notes in his upper register once again, and it's just fantastic to just listen to the versatility of his voice. I've said this many times before, but I really believe Myles is an outstanding vocalist and probably one of the most underrated singers of the 21st century. The only problem with this track is you might find it difficult to sing along to like I did. Us mere mortals can't really hit some of those notes that Myles is capable of, but otherwise it's a really cool track, guys, and definitely worth your time. I think an essential part of any rock album is really making sure you get yourself a good rock ballad on there. And that is, of course, unless you're AC/DC, right? And this album, Living the Dream, definitely has one. The name of the track is The One You Loved Is Gone. And what it does is it really showcases a tasty guitar solo from Slash on this one and Myles' excellent voice. It's very stripped down in its progression and arrangement, but really layered up with a lot of production, and I think radio stations will really enjoy this one. Boulevard of Broken Hearts is a great album closer. It's got a fantastic vocal melody and a really cool driving rhythm that really pushes the song forward. I don't think there's any duds here on Living the Dream, but there are definitely some tracks that definitely stand out more than others. Let's get to the performances on Living the Dream. I think with each passing album, Slash and the Conspirators have been becoming more about a group effort rather than a Slash solo band, and so this album definitely feels more like a band playing together, feeling more like the Conspirators at this point rather than Slash and the Conspirators, if that makes sense. And that's not to say Slash doesn't put in a great job here. I mean, he does. He's Slash, of course. We're going to get some great guitar on this album, and his tasty guitar solos on many of these tracks definitely cement his reputation as being one of the great rock guitarists out there. However, he does relinquish some of his guitar duties this time around. On World on Fire, he actually contributed all guitars to that album, while on this album, he lets guitarist Frank Sidoris actually take care of some of the rhythm guitar duties on this album. And it works really well here, because Frank's a great player, he's very tight, but he has the right amount of rock bounce and looseness to his playing that really complements Slash's playing quite well here. And so it's a guitar unit that really works quite well on Living the Dream. Brent Fitz and Todd Kearns are a pretty tight rhythm section, and they remove any excessive flash in their playing here, really just providing something simple and straightforward to allow Myles and Slash to really shine on this album. And once again, just like previous albums, this is definitely a guitar heavy and vocal heavy album where Slash and Myles really shine, and it works quite well. Michael Basquet returns to the producer's chair after producing the band's last album, World on Fire, and at this point he knows pretty much what works well for this group here, keeping the production pretty much simple, very straightforward here, as we've come to expect from previous albums once again. Though he does try some experimentation from time to time, and Driving the Rain actually showcases a pretty nifty little idea here where he puts Slash's guitar solo across the stereo field, having it pan from left to right, which I thought was a nice little addition to this track, and it worked quite well. Otherwise though, it's pretty simple, straightforward production here. We've got a big drum sound on most of these tracks here. The guitars are right up the front, which is great to hear on a rock album. Though what's really cool here is that the big guitars never overshadow Myles' powerful voice. It was also really great to hear Myles' voice laid in a very, very similar way to how it was layered on his solo album, Year of the Tiger, which Basquet also produced for record as well. And it's layered with a lot of harmonies and a lot of voices across the stereo field. That's a really great addition to this album. And I can only hope that he works with Basquet in the future once again, because I think Basquet really knows how to bring the best out of Myles' voice. Much like the World on Fire, I think the mixes here work really, really well. There's enough separation between all the instruments here, but there's enough cohesiveness as well, so that everything in the mix is working really, really well together. That also goes for the mastering as well, which is also quite bright, quite punchy, but not overbearing, not in your face. My only nitpick with this album is that while it has hints of experimentation, I just kind of wish the guys had gone a little bit further with this direction here, because there are parts in some of these songs where you'll hear something completely fresh, something really bold. You'll hear a particular guitar line, you'll hear a particular vocal melody where your ears will actually perk up to. But shortly after that, the song draws you in, but it's then abandoned for something that we've heard before on previous records, and it goes in once again this really safe route, which unfortunately is just such a shame. For instance, on My Antidote, it really showcases the Conspirators taking a few risks here and getting experimental, with a great intro showcasing drums and a percussive guitar line that's also used throughout the first verse, which I thought was a really, really cool addition. But it then shifts into something reminiscent of a vocal melody similar to Wicked Stone from the previous album, World on Fire, and it's just such a shame. It's not necessarily a bad thing though, but you're kind of left wondering, hey man, these songs could have been so much more had Slash spent a little bit more time in the writing room on this one. But guys, look, if you're a fan of Slash's work dating all the way back to early Guns N' Roses, this is definitely an essential buy for you. I think fans are going to have a really good time with the album, and there's definitely some great tracks here on Living the Dream, but just don't go in expecting anything different. Go in expecting the same, and you'll pretty much have a good time with it. I'm going to give Slash and the Conspirators Living the Dream a B+. So guys, what are your thoughts on Slash and the Conspirators Living the Dream? Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the album, and while you're there, also let me know your favourite Slash and the Conspirators track. Of course guys, don't forget to hit a like and subscribe if you dug this review, and remember, support the artist guys, buy the music. Rock on.